Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the row that Ramsipile has been causing this week. It's Wednesday today, and Ramza has been causing a row since Monday. And I am here for it, guys. I am here for the row that he's causing. That means he is doing a good job because tell me why everybody is in panic mode. The state, the judge, the police, yay! Everybody is on a panic mode, and uRamsipile is like, nizongazi. Here is what happened, Kesana, when it comes to the cell phone evidence. And I must say, I am so proud of Ubutsi Pobetun. I am so proud. Now, what made Advocate Ramsipile dangerous in the cell phone sequence? Because now we're dealing with the cell phone evidence. Do you remember that the police said they found Undanze with a cell phone? Well, that is what we are dealing with now. Now, this is what made him dangerous in the cell phone sequence. Was not that he arrived in a dramatic gotcha moment. It was opposite of that. He slowly boxed the witness into a procedural corner until the official police version started collapsing under its own paperwork or lack of paperwork. The key issue was simple here. The state's narrative suggested that a cell phone linked to accused number 2, Bongani Sandy Sontanzi, was supposedly found while he was in custody at Valeria police station. But Ramsipile's cross-examination exposed a major contradiction. If such a cell phone truly existed and was officially recovered inside a police holding facility, there should have been a trail. And according to the witness, that trail was missing. The breakthrough came when Colonel Silas Toka, the station commander, admitted he had no knowledge of any complaint about Ndanzi possessing a cell phone, any official report from officers, any SEP 13 or SEPS 13 exhibit registration, or any OB, occurrence book, entry recording the recovery of the cell phone. That is devastating, Kesana, because Ramsipile structured the questioning around police procedure, not speculation. He essentially forced the witness to agree with basic institutional logic. If contraband is found in a cell, it must be documented. If evidence is seized, it must be booked into SEP 13. If an operation occurs in a station, there should be an OB reference. If a phone was important enough to be downloaded by a technical unit the next day, there should be a clear chain of custody. Instead, the witness kept saying variations of, I have no information, I don't know, it should have been registered. That game idea was where Ramsipile was like, let me take you through all of these things. I'm going to show you how this moves. That is when Ramza was like, I'm going to take you one by one through it all because Sona, there is no way. The last phrase mattered the most, should have been registered, is effectively an admission that procedure required documentation, which apparently does not exist. Ramsipile's strategy was clever because he avoided over-arguing. He let the station commander himself explain what police procedure demands. Then he compared those procedures to the empty record before the court. That created a credibility crisis right there. Do you remember the state busy? They said, yeah, Undanzi had a cell phone. Undanzi had a cell phone. Ramsipile wanted to hold my glass of beer. I'm coming back with information. Hold my glass of beer. I'm coming back with information because, see, Dali Nani. Now, because now the court is left with uncomfortable possibilities. Was the cell phone really found as alleged? If it was found, why is there no proper administrative trail? Who handled it? Who signed for it? Where is the first contemporaneous record? Was evidence inserted later into the narrative? Or was procedure violated so badly that reliability itself becomes questionable? Now, There are people that must answer for this accusation against Utanzi, and there are people that must answer for the lies inside the courtroom. There are people who committed perjury in this court of Judge Rata, and because it's him and he believes in police, those things are not going to be dealt with as they need to. Now, in another court, any other judge would have questioned and listened to this and be like, didn't Usman Ban say, didn't police officer so-and-so say, didn't police so-and-so, yes, didn't, and that person was going to, that other judge was going to note all of that down. I don't know if Judge Rota is doing that, but the way he's so destructive right there, we are going into that in another video. It's, do you understand? Very, very, Now, this is where the cross-examination became more than a technical debate about a cell phone. Ramasipile transformed it into a chain of custody attack. And the chain of custody cases are dangerous for the prosecution because criminal courts rely heavily on continuity. Found, seized, recorded, stored, transferred, analyzed. And that is nowhere to be found in this situation. If one link breaks, the defense starts arguing contamination, reconstruction, or fabrication. What made the moment even more damaging was the timing of it all. Ramasipile tied the cell phone issue directly into a wider pattern already troubling the case. Missing OB records, uncertainty around SEPS registers, conflicting detention records, disputed confessions, and witnesses disowning statements. That timing, very bad, Gesan. Very, very bad, Gesan. So the cell phone issue stopped looking isolated. It started looking like another example of procedural instability inside the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. The witness also reportedly confirmed that if items are found in cells, they are supposed to be returned and officially registered. Well, that register is nowhere to be found, or at least where there are registers that are found, there's no way that that information is written down. That answer sounds harmless on the surface, but legally it helps the defense enormously because once the witness confirms the rule, Ramasipile can later argue the rule existed. The police knew the rules. Yes, the records are absent. That is often more powerful than the emotional courtroom theatrics. Another important tactical point, Ramasipile never needed the witness to accuse police officers of lying. Another important tactical point, Ramasipile never needed the witness to accuse police officers of lying. He only needed the witness to confirm what proper procedure looks like and then reveal that he expected paperwork, reveal that the expected paperwork is missing. That, my dear, was Ramasipile cooking, frying, and all the other things that you do in the kitchen there. But his cooking was proper. It was edible. That's you can. It's something that I can assure you. That I can assure you that Ramasipile cooks ukudla okutyekayo, unlike the other product here. Now, that style of cross-examination is dangerous because it appears calm and technical, but it quietly erodes the reliability of the state's evidence foundation. And there's a second layer here. The state appears to want the cell phone evidence to help place it in a broader evidential network, movement, communication, associations, downloaded content, or location analysis. Earlier cell phone evidence in the case has already been disputed by the defense, especially around attribution and linkage. Now, Ramasipile's attack therefore goes beyond was there a cell phone. He is attacking authenticity, provenance, continuity, and evidential integrity. In other words, can the court trust can this court trust where this device allegedly came from? That is the real battlefield right now. And once a court starts doubting the integrity of collection procedures, every later forensic conclusion built on that device becomes vulnerable too. This is why this cross-examination landed so heavily. Ramasipile took what the state likely thought was routine cell phone evidence and turned it into a referendum on police credibility itself. Kwavela kwanuka umswane enkantolo. Kwavela kwanuka umswane. Ramsipile understood what he was doing. His colleagues understood what he was doing. The Leonard Friends, which is the state, understood what was happening. Gininda and the cold storage unit understood what was happening. The expose was too much. It was too huge to be missed. Nobody missed it, including Judge Ratta, while sitting as student Sobukhosi. He understood that that expose was too big. He got it. He understood. And now, Ramsipile, I doubt there's anyone who sees him and like, hey, from them. Now, all right, they respect Ramsipile by force. He is forcing them to respect him. He has no time. Yabana, he dealt with them while there's a missing register. He dealt with them. Oh, he dealt with them big time. He dealt with them, and it's not even funny. It's not even a joke. We can't even make any jokes now. Kubi. Imbi injalo ke sana. Imbi yonke lonto le and akahleki. Mugai is not laughing with any of them ke sana. That I can tell you for free. I don't know about you, but I feel like we are in for a big ride even today when it comes to Nxumalo, because he's going to be continuing with his cross-examination after the drama, but I'll talk about that in another video just now. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to all of this? Did you feel Ukutu Ramsipile brought his A game, or you thought like, where were you all these years? And Ramsipile was like to us, don't be in a hurry, relax. Now Judge Ratta is stressed because he's like, I'm like guilty verdict as Pumala. No, that would be me committing illegal suicide. If he does a guilty verdict in this case, he will be committing illegal suicide. That's all that it will become. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? I'll see you on our next video. Thank you so much. Do enjoy. Bye-bye.